It took me a little while to get back going, man. You know how it is when you get a break and you start to kind of relax, and then you got to get back into the swing of things, and it takes a little while. That's sort of what happened to me today. Is got home last night, kicked it with the wife, and we celebrated our first anniversary over the weekend, and it was awesome. And you get back home from a weekend full of fun, and it's hard to get back into the swing of things, back to reality, if you will. So I had to force myself to get out here and get this podcast up because A, there's some things that I did want to talk about, and B, I need to get back to work. Okay, but playtime's over. Need to get back to work. So lot to talk about. Talk about a Memorial Day weekend, and would love to hear about how your Memorial Day weekend went. I think Memorial Day is one of the low-key underrated holidays. I don't think it gets enough attention. It's a big holiday at the end of the school year for teachers and faculty members. I am more aware of that now, being that my wife works in the education field. And so this is, coming down home stretch. As a student, when I was a kid, this was the last major holiday setting us up for school being over. More likely than not, SOLs are out of the way. You might still have one or two left to take. And, this was the last holiday taking you down home stretch. Now it's June. It's over. Okay. Don't try to give me any work to do. If it's not test related, I don't want to do anything. I just want to come to school and chill. That's kind of what Memorial Day represented for me. Anyway, enough of the babbling. Let's get to the 264th installment of the Louie T Network podcast that starts now. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the 264th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. How was your Memorial Day weekend? Mine was fantastic. There was a little bit of, arguing going on. Nothing too, ridiculous. Nothing more than family being family, right? But all in all, I had a blast. Let's see. We had a fun time on Friday. Ended up going to a restaurant. I think it was called Schumer's or Schultzy, or I'm gonna look it up real quick and see what exactly the restaurant was called. So the Steinies. So the real name of it is Stein Hilbers. It's in Virginia Beach off of Thalia Road. And so let me explain to you my kind of vibe when I go to a restaurant. So Steiny's was a really good, first of all, the ambiance was beautiful. So you drive into a neighborhood. It reminds me of this place in Kiln Creek that I used to go to called La Trattoria. It's a pizza, Italian type of place. You drive into a neighborhood, and in the back of the neighborhood, there's this little shopping center, and boom, La Trattoria is in there. So this one was a little bit different. You drive all the way to the back of this neighborhood, and then there's this humongous spread, all these lights. We had a late reservation for 9 p.m. that night. So we literally get there, and it's all these lights. You drive up, you can get free valet parking. We just decided the parking was right there. We decided to park ourselves. You go inside, and it's this nice little place. The lighting is perfect. You go in, you sit down. And so my type of scene when we're doing the casual, you have to dress nice type of event is I want to be able to still have fun. I know I got to tone it down a bit because when we go out, and we're loud and we're having fun, laughing, joking, that sort of thing. And so we went to a place called Chops in Virginia Beach. And we had to dress up, it was a casual spot. However, we were still able to turn up inside, right? And had great drinks. And, you're going to pay a little bit more when you go to upscale dining, and that's fine. But I still want to be able to enjoy myself. I didn't feel like I could enjoy myself at Steiny's. I felt like I had to keep my inside voice on the entire time. We kind of felt uptight. You could eat outside. It would have probably had been better had we eaten outside. We would have been able to use our outside voices, and we probably would have had a little bit more fun. That said, it was a good time. The food was actually pretty good. I was disappointed. I'm a vegan, so I didn't have many options on the menu. And what really frustrated me was the one option that I wanted, they didn't have it. How can you not have the one vegan option that you have on the menu? So they had two vegan options, but the one that everyone's going to choose, which was the pasta, they didn't have. Like, that sucked. So now I'm reduced to eating cauliflower. Do I look like some kind of a herbivore or something? Like, I want food. I didn't come here to eat cauliflower, which is essentially what I did. I ate a lot of cauliflower. It sucked. So I didn't enjoy my food, even though the cauliflower was like Korean barbecue sauce. The cauliflower was cooked in Korean barbecue sauce, and it was good. I don't want it. I didn't come here to eat cauliflower. I could have ate before I came if you were going to do that to me. That said, everybody else's food looked delicious and they enjoyed their food, but that just wasn't our scene. That's a one and done type of establishment. But the turn up happened afterwards. We have a spot that we love to go to for happy hour. And really, they don't have a happy hour. It's just the drinks are this price the entire night. They close at 2. And so we went there, we turned up, and we had a great time. And then Saturday or Sunday, we had a cookout, a Memorial Day cookout. And then after that, first of all, my daughter, she hit the kid for the ends. I mean, she ran the checkup on me at the outlet. We went shopping and to pick up a few items for the cookout. And then she ended up, I had to go to the outlet for something, and she ended up hitting the kid big. And shout out to my guy, Eddie Behringer. Ran into him at the outlets. Quick story. We're walking past the Polo store. We were going to go inside. We walked past one more store, and I think that's the store Eddie B was walking out of with someone else. I didn't recognize his face. He had a mask on. I had my mask in my hand because we were outside. So I didn't recognize he was coming out of the store. I didn't recognize him, So we walked probably 2-3 more stores down, and I hear somebody yell out, "Hey, Lou!" So I'm thinking it's somebody I know with face recognition, somebody from high school, someone from way back when. And I turn around and I'm trying to, pick up on the face of the person that is walking towards me that just yelled my name, and I couldn't recognize their face. So he walks up and he's like, "Hey man, what's going on? I'm Eddie B." I'm like, "Oh my God." So I knew him. So I told you guys I'm a lurker. So a lot of you guys, if you follow me on some sort of social media, I do my homework. Okay. Like at the end of the day, I'm a human. Like, sometimes people put YouTubers or whomever on pedestals like they're not human beings. I'm a human. So I want to be personable. So I want to know who I'm talking to. So if you're someone that talks to me on, YouTube a ton, or on IG or on Twitter a lot, or you super chat all the time, or you message all the time on these videos, and we converse a lot, at some point, if I'm, have some time on my hands, or you trigger something, I'll go look at your page to get a better feel of who I'm talking to. So at one point, Eddie B, I think he had messaged me for something. We were talking back and forth. So I knew that the guy did music. He's an R&B singer. And so when he said it was Eddie B, I'm like, "Oh, what's going on, man?" He says, "How you doing, man?" I'm like, "I'm doing well. What about yourself?" I said, I know you out here probably getting some music done." He's like, "Yeah, man." I said, "So, how you been? You out here in these streets?" He's like, "Look, man, I, pretty much don't do anything. I'm just out here making music. That's it." So it was good to meet Eddie, dap him up a little bit, and then, kept it pushing, man. And I enjoy meeting you guys. If you see me or you think you see me, hey, say something. That's what I've said all along. Eddie was a really cool dude. And shout out to my guy, Eddie Behringer. Anyway, my daughter ran up to check on me. Look, what can I do, man? I'm a sucker for my daughter. So did a little bit of shopping, had a great time, had a cookout. And then we actually, yesterday, the carnival was at Mount Trashmore. So I took the kids to Mount Trashmore to the carnival. We had a blast. My sisters brought their kids. I brought mine, and we just went. And the beauty of it all was on Monday, which is the day we decided to go to Mount Trashmore, to the carnival. It wasn't very hot outside. It was like the perfect temp, probably like 84, 87 degrees, with a little bit of a wind, a little bit of a gust, if you will. So you find some shade, you were in a beautiful spot. And the awesome thing was it just wasn't crowded, because I feel like, and this was my rationale for going on Monday, we were going to flush out all of the out-of-towners and all the people that saw the carnival and wanted to go the first few days. They were excited. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's when you're going to get that crowd. People have to go back to work. People are going back home where they came from on Monday. So they're traveling, they're in transit. So we're not dealing with that crowd. We're only dealing with people that live in the 757 that decided they wanted to come on Monday. And so we went at pretty much as soon as the carnival opened up on Monday at like 3 o'clock. It opened at 2. We got there around 3, and there was no lines. It wasn't overcrowded. You could maneuver. You could get the kids on the ride. You didn't have to stand in a line for 20 minutes. Everything kind of went flawlessly, and it couldn't have gone any better. And so we enjoyed ourselves. The kids had a blast, and that's what it's all about, is the kids having fun. And so it was an amazing weekend. And then, to top it off, we got some excellent boxing. Tank Davis, if you're a big boxing fan, Gervonta Davis, a.k.a. Tank Davis, had an epic 6-round knockout of Romero in the 6th round. And he was actually losing that fight. But that's the beauty of Tank Davis, is that power. That left hand is ridiculous. It's now 27-0, 25 knockouts for Tank Davis. And I think the next big fight is probably going to end up being Ryan Garcia. Whomever he fights, Shakur Stevenson, whomever the next guy is, it's going to be epic. It's going to be a big fight. It's time for him to step up in level of competition. It's time for him to go to that next level. So I'm looking forward to that. That was a great fight. And he got game 7, Celtics, Heat. And that's, got game 6 first, right? Like, you're expecting the Celtics to take the Heat out. Jimmy Butler goes bananas in game 6 on Friday night. So that sets the stage for game 7. Now the Celtics have to do what they've done already once before, which is go on the road and win a big game. They did it in game 6 against Milwaukee after losing an opportunity to finish the Bucks off after getting the series back to 2-2 in Boston. They blew an opportunity to take a 3-2 lead by losing game 5 at home. They had to then go to Milwaukee to win game 6 to get it back 3-3, went home, destroyed the Bucks in game 7 and moved on. They, in this time, in the opposite fashion, they were the team with the 3-2 lead going back home in game 6 with a chance to end the series. They didn't take advantage of it. Jimmy Butler goes apeshit, 47 points, a virtuoso performance, sets the stage for game 7. You're thinking, like, I still thought the Celtics were going to win. Everybody thought the Celtics were going to win, but now Miami's at home. They got the momentum. Jimmy Butler already said after the game, we had to win this one. We're going to win the next one, and then we're going to win 4 more and win the championship. So Jimmy's like, I'm not going to let these guys lose. So you're thinking, oh my God, did they just blow an opportunity? This young Celtics nucleus that has come this far, did they just blow an opportunity to make it to the finals? And nothing's guaranteed. As we know in the NBA, you have to take advantage of that particular season. Like the Bucks last year, I said, look, Giannis, if you want to win an NBA championship, my guy, this is the season. Everybody's hurt. Your path to the NBA championship has been carved out for you. You just got to take advantage. And he did. It took a while. They were down 2-0 in the finals, but they won 4 straight. He got his chip. He may not win another one, but at least he got his. This is an opportunity for the Celtics. They made their path, though. I got to give them credit. When everybody else was trying to avoid playing Milwaukee and playing the Nets and all this, they played their starters in the final game of the season. They got the 2 seed, instead of bitching up like the 76ers did and didn't play their starters. And the 76ers could have been the 2 seed, but they didn't want to play the Nets. The Celtics said, we're not afraid of anybody. And they went through the toughest stretch you can get to where they are. They are battle tested, and I think they're good enough to beat the Warriors. It's going to be a fantastic series, but they went through the Nets and they swept them. They went through the Bucks, the defending NBA champions. It might have been a little bit different if Chris Middleton doesn't get injured. It doesn't matter. That's not their problem, which is why I said you have to take advantage of this, because Middleton will be back next year. Maybe the Bucks are even better next year, but they went through the defending champion Bucks, and that took 7 games. And then they went through the Miami Heat, who were the number 1 seed in the East. A lot of people forget that, in 7 games as well. And so game 7 was epic. They had a lead, then they tried to blow a lead, and then Jimmy Butler pulls up for the 3 for the win when he could have probably gone for the tie. And if they tie that game up and it goes to overtime, the Heat are going to win the game because they had all of the momentum. But Jimmy Butler was dog tired. He wanted that game to be over. He hadn't sat a single second of that game. He had played all 48 minutes, and his idea of winning this game didn't include overtime. I wasn't mad at him. I wasn't glad at him either. I thought he should have taken the ball to the rack. That's not his game. He is not a 3-point shooter, but he was in rhythm. He was in transition. It was a good look. It came up short. And that's the thing. When you don't have legs, when you're dead tired, the last thing, and you're not a 3-point shooter, the last thing you need to be doing is shooting a 3-point shot. Anyway, I digress. It was a fantastic weekend. How about yours? I enjoyed it thoroughly, and that is why I had to find the strength to get this podcast up and running. So with that said, let's jump into today's show, and we're going to start the show off with a gem dropping session. You know what it is. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind, let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, LouieTeeNetwork. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. So this gym dropping session is going to act as a de facto in case you missed it. Couple of things happen in the NFL and the National Football League that I want to discuss real quick. So we'll knock this out and then we'll get to your comments. And then we'll wrap this show up with garbage time. So in case you missed it, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed Akeem Hicks, defensive tackle, to a 1-year, $10 million deal. This is a fantastic deal. So to me, we're in the time period of the NFL calendar. Schedule's already come out. Draft is come and gone. Free agency is done, so to speak. And so now I feel like you're tying up loose ends to your offseason, and now you're starting to get prepared and ramping things up for the new season, okay? So in other words, you've gotten everything from the offseason taken care of for the most part. There are a few small items left on the checklist that you may not have gotten done via free agency or the draft. And so now this is when you tie up the loose ends. Maybe there's a guy that you franchise tagged earlier in the offseason. You want to get that long-term deal done. Drafts are now over. You don't have to worry about that. You've signed all of your draft picks. So that's done. You feel like you're in a great spot now to sit down and figure out how to get this long-term deal done with a guy that you slapped the franchise tag on earlier in the offseason. You know, maybe you're a team like Seattle or you're a team like Carolina, and you still aren't really comfortable with your quarterback situation going into the season. So maybe trading for a veteran quarterback is still something on your radar, or maybe you're just sitting and trying to wait out the situation. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, and maybe find yourself falling into a veteran quarterback that you might feel a little bit better about. Either way, you're still looking to tie up loose ends. Here's a classic example of that happening here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they get a defensive tackle in the draft in Logan Hall in the early stages of the second round, and they love the selection. I love the selection for them. However, he's not a true interior 3-down defensive tackle. To me, he is more of a pass rushing specialist that you kick down inside on obvious passing situations so that he can use his length and quickness against interior offensive linemen. But on first and second down, he's more of a base 4-3 defensive end. That's the way I view Logan Hall. However, you're moving on from Ndamukong Suh. That's a big part of why your run defense has been dominant the last 4 or 5 years, along with, of course, Vita Vea. and others. Okay, JPP and other guys that do a great job setting the edge and being physical in the run game. However, Akeem Hicks, to me, when healthy and dialed in, one of the most disruptive and dominant defensive tackles, especially against the run in the National Football League. They essentially replaced Ndamukong Suh with an Ndamukong Suh type player on an Ndamukong Suh type contract. A 1-year, $10 million deal is exactly what they've been doing with Ndamukong Suh the last couple of years. This is brilliance, sheer brilliance on the part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you want to know why the rich stay rich, is because of moves like this. Like, I thought Akeem Hicks would end up somewhere like Los Angeles with the Chargers, a team that desperately needed to bolster their run defense. Instead, he ends up in Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. It's a fantastic move by the Bucs. I mean, doesn't get much better than this. Getting a guy, and he's still got prime football left in him, even though he's starting to get up there in age. When he's healthy, and the beauty of it is, he was trying to carry a Bears defense that wasn't as good as it had been in the past. He'll fit into a Bucs defense that's somewhat young still, but there are good pieces around him where he doesn't have to do as much. All the attention won't be on stopping Akeem Hicks like it was in Chicago. Yeah, they had Eddie Goldman. Eddie Goldman wasn't a dominant defender like Vita Vea or, Shaq Barrett, or even, to a lesser degree. I think JPP's dominant days are behind him, but he's still a hell of a run defender. Akeem Hicks in that defense is going to be fantastic. That's a great move. And that's what I'm talking about, tying up loose ends. Yeah, we got a defensive tackle in the draft, but he's not a, conventional, first and second down interior defensive tackle that's going to stop the run. That's what Akeem Hicks is. And Hicks is even a problem on third downs when you're looking to get after the quarterback. So it's a fantastic move for the Buccaneers as they try to assemble a roster that's going to give Brady an opportunity to hoist yet another Lombardi. In case you missed it, Browns don't plan on cutting Baker Mayfield, right? However, in a trade, they're like, hey, some teams have called us. They want us to eat $13-14 million of Baker's $19 million salary for the upcoming season. And we're like, yeah, not exactly. We'd like to eat 8, 9, maybe 9.5 if, the deal is right for us. Pretty much we'd like to eat half of that thing. We don't want to eat the whole thing, 3/4 of it, So I think that's one of the hangups of the deal is the Browns are like, yeah, we were kind of thinking more along the lines of 8, 9, maybe, 9.5 mil, not the 13, 14, 15 that, some of the teams out here want us to eat of that deal. Yeah, we want to get rid of them, but not that bad. So interesting dynamic. There are teams circling the Browns like vultures, like literally the Seahawks and the Panthers are like, yeah, we want Baker, but we're not giving you shit for him. And so we'll just circle like vultures. Eventually, you're going to break. You're going to have to cut this guy. You don't want this awkwardness in your quarterback room. Him and Deshaun Watson haven't met each other. And I don't think the Browns plan on having those two meet each other. I think their deadline for getting something done with Baker Mayfield is the start of training camp because Baker's clearly not going to show up for any of these OTAs. They don't want him there anyway. And so I don't think they plan on having these two guys coexist in a locker room, in a quarterback room. So I think they've got all the way up until late July when, this team comes and all NFL teams come to camp to find a way to get a deal done, or they're going to have to release them. They don't want to release them, but I think they're going to ultimately have to if no one comes to the table. And at this point, these teams have already showed you their hands. They said, look, we're not trading for this guy unless ... And the unless right now is unless you eat 3/4 of that contract, which the Browns are like, come on, don't hold us up like that, man. Don't do us like that. Show us a little grace and mercy. And then the rest of the league is like, we're showing you shit. You show us the money, right? You show us that you're going to eat most of this contract and we can talk turkey. So that again, we've talked about this situation with Baker Mayfield. Also, Jimmy Garoppolo is still lingering out there. He could be traded as well. The 49ers have already, and I think the 49ers situation is less dire than that of the Browns because they already have had these two guys in Trey Lance, the young upstart, and the veteran Jimmy Garoppolo in the locker room with one another before. And while you don't want the veteran who just took you to the NFC Championship game lingering over the shoulder of your young quarterback that's going to get his first opportunity to be the guy. You don't want him lingering there, because if things start to go south, the first thing fans are going to say is, hey, put Jimmy's ass back in. That said, they've already been in a locker room and coexisted before. They've been in a quarterback room. There's no animosity there. They're fine with holding on to Jimmy Garoppolo if need be. They don't have to do anything. The Browns situation is a little bit different because clearly there is a little bit of animosity there on the part of Baker. I don't know if Deshaun Watson has anything against Baker Mayfield. I'd like to guess that he doesn't. But Baker's feeling some type of way. Like, this is the guy you brought in to take my job. This is the guy you pretty much shunned me for. I don't like his ass. And they probably don't even know each other, but that doesn't matter, you know? So at the end of the day, I assume that there's a little bit of tension there that the Browns don't want. They've already got enough on their plate with the Deshaun Watson situation. The NFL's yet to rule, but I think he's going to be suspended. I don't think he's going to be for a very long time, but I could see him getting like a 4-game suspension or something like that. Either way, maybe even 6. At the end of the day, the Browns are in no rush to move him, but I do think they have to hurry up and wait. At some point, they're going to have to do something, and those teams are circling like vultures, like, hey, at some point, you're going to drop his ass, and we're going to be ready to swoop in. So we'll see what happens with that situation. In case you missed it, speaking of the Cleveland Browns, did you see the deal David Njoku got? So remember, the Browns franchise tag, this is what I'm talking about, tying up loose ends. You know, the Browns want to trade Baker Mayfield. The 49ers want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. They want to tie up those loose ends from the offseason and move into the new season. Here are the Browns trying to tie up another loose end. They franchise tagged David Njoku, did not want to lose him, the former first-round pick out of the University of Miami. Signed a 4-year, $56.8 million deal extension to stay in Cleveland with $28 million of it. So essentially half of the deal, 50% of the deal, is fully guaranteed. So that's the real deal. The $28 million is the real guaranteed money here. However, the 0.8, the $800,000 is significant here, because the 0.8 is what makes him the highest paid tight end in football. Mark Andrews signed a 4-year, $56 million deal in Baltimore, which made him the highest paid tight end. And now Njoku best him by, and this is the game that we play in the NFL, where if I'm the next guy up, I'm the highest paid guy. And it's going to be only for a limited time. Someone else is going to come along, sign a deal that's greater than David Njoku, but right now he's at the top of the food chain by $800,000. That's the pettiness that goes on with these players, so they can say, hey, I'm the highest paid in my position, yada, yada, yada. I'm looking at it like this. Okay, cool. The Browns got their man. They re-signed David Njoku. I like him. I don't love him. I like the skill set, love the talent. Don't necessarily love the production that he's had in his career to this point to command this kind of money. But think about it from the Ravens' perspective with Mark Andrews, or even a bigger picture is the Chiefs with Travis Kelce. Kelce is like the fifth or sixth highest paid tight end in the league. He's the best tight end in football, and he's like the 5th or 6th best, highest paid. Now, it'd be one thing if, Kelce, and this is what happens, right? These new deals come in, these guys get more, but I'm like, Kelce's like light years ahead of some of these dudes. It's ridiculous. And I look at it from the Ravens perspective. I'm not even going to talk about the Chiefs, because David Njoku signs this deal, and I'm thinking to myself, when I saw the money, I said, well, damn, didn't Andrews just get a deal that was similar? So I had to go do my, I got my crack staff on the research side of things, and 4 years, $56 million for Mark Andrews for the Ravens. And I'm thinking, you got the same money for a clearly head and shoulders better tight end in Mark Andrews. You got the same money for that dude as the Browns had to pay for Njoku. That's a joke. And that's the problem with some of these positions in football. Tight end is one of those positions. We saw the Patriots overpay last offseason. Like, they took the tight end from Tennessee. The hell is his name? Shucks, I don't know why I can't think of his damn name. And he got some good money. I was like, we talking about the same damn tight end. Like, I like him. You just paid him, love him money. He got the same money. The tight end in New England that came from Tennessee got the same money as Hunter Henry. And I'm like, what? What? David Njoku just got, Mark Andrews led the league in receiving yards last season as a tight end. And David Njoku just got more money than he did. That's a steal for Baltimore. Clearly, this is how the market works, but the Browns overpaid. But Njoku probably wasn't going to sign for anything less. They had to do what they had to do. To me, as an agent, that's your job, is to get your guy the most money you can get him. As a team, you want your players happy. You want to pay the guys that have been there, that have done it the right way, and you want to take care of those guys. But at the same time, the value must fit the production. I must feel like, and maybe the Browns are saying to themselves, you know what? We're not paying for what David Njoku has already done. We're going to pay him for what we expect him to do for us in the future. He's still young. He's going into the prime of his career. And that may be the thought process. And if it is, good for you. I hope you get what you're looking for. But the Ravens are paying for the exact same thing. The Ravens are paying for what Mark Andrews is going to do for them in the future, but they're also paying Mark Andrews for what he's already done. And he's done significantly more than David Njoku. It is crazy to me that he just got this deal. Just a year ago, the man wanted out of Cleveland. He demanded a trade. It was short-lived. Craziness. Anyway, I digress. Good for David Njoku. Good for the tight end position. They continue to move the needle at the tight end positions. These tight ends are getting paid lots of money. Jonnu Smith. Thank you, Alex. Jonnu Smith, Lorenzo Simpson, Johnny Colasarosi. Thank you, guys. Jonnu Smith is the tight end that the Patriots signed from Tennessee that got all that money in free agency a couple of years ago. And I was like, what the hell is going on right now? Him and Hunter Henry are not the same, yet they're getting the same amount of money. And it was a good amount too. Anyway, the tight ends continue to move the needle forward and get that position up to speed where everyone else is. And this is another deal that's going to help move in that direction. David Njoku, 4-year, $56.8 million extension to stay in Cleveland. He's no longer on the franchise tag. And then lastly, we just talked about the Ravens in case you missed it. Ravens don't want a rental situation with Lamar Jackson, meaning they don't want to go year to year. Remember, Lamar Jackson is going into his final year of his rookie deal. Okay. He was in that vaunted 2018 draft class with Darnold and Mayfield and Allen and Rosen, and he was the last of those quarterbacks selected. He went 32nd overall to the Ravens in that draft class. And he, you could argue, has been the most successful, along with, of course, Josh Allen. He's already won the league MVP. Josh Allen has not, but Allen has been more successful in the postseason when it counts. Jackson is still trying to have that breakthrough in the postseason. He has won a game, so he's gotten that monkey off his back, but hasn't had the type of success that the regular season success suggests he should have had at this point. But still, he's now going into that final year of his contract, and this is the 5th-year option year. The Ravens can then franchise tag him next year. If things don't go well, that'll cost them $30-some-odd million, which is perfectly fine if the Ravens want to go that route. The Ravens say, look, we have options if Lamar doesn't want to sign up on the dotted line long term, because we can play this song and dance, but we don't want to do the rental thing. And I don't know where Lamar is going with this. I don't know how he envisions this. But again, I've said this, many a times. Kirk Cousins, Darrelle Revis, Ndamukong Suh, guys like that have really, especially Darrelle Revis and Kirk Cousins have really manipulated the system better than any player I've ever seen. You know, those guys continued to find themselves back at the table getting more and more money in a short period of time, and they really worked the system in their favor. And I don't know if Lamar Jackson sees that and says, I can do that too, or I don't know what his deal is, what he's looking to do. Remember, he does not have an agent. He is his own agent. Him and his mom are going to negotiate his deal at some point, if it does in fact happen. And so I've always said, keep an eye on this Lamar Jackson situation. It's intriguing because he does not have an agent. It's getting even more intriguing now that he doesn't have a deal. Meanwhile, Josh Allen already signed one. Baker Mayfield's not getting one, clearly, and no one else in that draft class is any good. So he's the last guy of the last Mohican of that 18 draft, if you will, to get a deal. They haven't gotten one. So they don't want to do the rental thing. They don't want to do the Kirk Cousins thing, but they may have to do that if he does not sign on the dotted line. Maybe Lamar's betting on himself this year, has a massive year, can parlay that into the richest contract per annual average. Like maybe he wants that Deshaun Watson type contract. And if they win a Super Bowl, he'll get that. But if, you know, I don't know what he's betting on. Here's my thing. I don't want him to end up in a game of chicken and then something stupid happens, like he gets injured. Like last year, that was the first time he really gotten injured. Didn't have the season that you expect from Lamar Jackson. Remember, before he got injured, I think he had like 16 touchdowns and like, 12 or 13 interceptions. He didn't have as many rush touchdowns as he usually has in a season. I think he only had like 3 or 4 of those, maybe 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there. Like he wasn't having, and this was through 12 games. It's not like he was the regular Lamar Jackson, the dynamic, electric Lamar Jackson that we've seen in past seasons. He was somewhat subdued before the injury. So I don't want him to play a game of chicken and he ends up being the one that, ends up losing here because he gets injured and the Ravens are like, you know what? We don't want to pay you now. Or they say, you know what? We're not playing this game with you. Go ahead, test free agent. Like every team is not set up to have a Lamar Jackson on their roster as their starting quarterback. Every team is not set up to have a Lamar Jackson. The Ravens have built their roster around the talents of a Lamar Jackson. He has to know that. He's a smart enough dude. He has to understand that the Ravens have built this structure around his game and tailored their offense to his skill set. And so he's got to know that you can't just pick up and go somewhere else and expect the same or better results. So I hope he understands, and I think he's smart enough to understand that. I want to see where this goes because he's betting on himself, and I want to see him end up right. I want to see him end up being right in this situation, but it could go wrong for him. But the Ravens clearly want him long term, and I wasn't sure about that 2 years ago. Like maybe the Ravens may try to do what the Steelers, were going to do with Le'Veon Bell, kind of like. I shouldn't even say that. What teams like to do with running backs, which is, hey, draft them in the first round, and then milk them, use that 5th-year option, then franchise tag them, don't pay them long-term money, and then cut them loose after you've had, 5-6 years of service. I thought maybe the Ravens would do that with Lamar Jackson because of his style of play, but that's not what they want to do. And clearly Lamar's got a different idea of what a long-term deal should look like, or maybe he's not even interested in a long-term deal. We'll find out. We'll see. Anyway, I digress. I just feel like it's a really interesting dynamic. That is for certain. So let's move on to the next segment of the show, social media maneuvers. I'm a midday marauder. You guys line up your comments, and we will get to those. Use the hashtag LouieTeeLive to have your comment read on the air. We'll get to as many of these as humanly possible. You guys know how the game goes. For those of you who do not know how the game goes, use the hashtag LouieTeeLive. Super chats come first, so we'll knock those out. And then if we don't have any super chats, we'll get to the hashtag comments and try to get to as many of those as possible. I do have a couple of super chats. I also have a few new members of the MOBB. Prof 44, okay? P Ruff 44, Prof 44. Stand up! You are officially in the building as the newest member of the MOBB. Mob, you know what to do. Show Prof 44 some love. welcome him with open arms to the MOBB. Thank you for your membership. We look forward to chopping it up with you in the future. Big things on the horizon for the MOBB. Prof 44, glad you're going to be a part of it. Welcome to the squad. Welcome aboard. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Luck writes, nothing to see here, just the first super chat. Well, I appreciate that, Luck. Thank you so much for the super chat. Look forward to chopping it up with you and hope all is well. Let's see. All right. Luck says, just printed my 75th order, man. I love to hear it. I love to hear it, man. Good to see business is booming for you over there, man. Let's see. Eric DeBose, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Eric DeBose writes, what's up, Lou? Heard rumors Khalid might be linebacker 3. How do you feel about that? Also, getting a little worried about Max 17 deal. Blessings to you and the fam. I can't stress this enough. There's no reason to be worried about Terry McLaurin's deal. None. Don't be worried. It's going to get done. As far as Khalid Hudson being potentially being linebacker number 3, I'd love to see it. I wanted to see this last year. I thought we were going to see more of that last year. I thought we were going to see a lot more Khalid Hudson on the field in a actual linebacker capacity, less of the Khalid Hudson that's just helping out on special teams. And that did not come to fruition for whatever reason last season. Now, again, they had Jamin Davis, they had Cole Holcomb, and we didn't play a lot of base defense. We were in nickel and dime packages a ton. So that takes the, extra linebacker off the field. We were also in the Buffalo nickel 3 safety look. So that took an extra linebacker off the field as well. So maybe that was part of the reason that you didn't see as much Khalid Hudson. But remember, we didn't see a ton of Jamin Davis as the season progressed. They decided to go with a veteran in David Mayo. And so you were like, well, damn, Khalid can't get any run. Khalid can't get on the field in any capacity. So we'll see what happens. At some point, Ron said he wanted to add another veteran linebacker. We'll see what they decide to do. I don't anticipate them doing putting Khalid Hudson on the field. Until I see it, I don't believe it. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's get back to the comment section. That was the last super chat that I have. I do have a couple of, I think I have another. Jay Willard. Stand up, my guy Jay Willard. You are officially in the building as the newest member of the MOBB mob. You know what to do. Show Jay Willard some love. Welcome him to the MOBB. Jay Willard, welcome to the squad. We are so excited to have you. Looking forward to chopping it up with you even more so as a member of the MOBB. My guy Jay Willard, welcome to the squad. Got another new member of the MOBB. This one is from Motor 872. Stand up, Motor 872. You are the newest member of the MOBB and officially in the building. You know what it is. Motor 872. Welcome aboard. Mob, you know what to do. Wrap your arms around Motor 872 and welcome him to the MOBB. Looking forward to a great season with all of the mob members. Again, I've got some big things in store for the mob, and I'm glad that you're going to be a part of it. Welcome aboard to the MOBB Motor 872. Won't be sorry. Welcome to the squad. Yes, indeed. I got another super chat here from Michael White. Thank you for the super chat, Michael White. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Michael White writes, what's up, Luke? Nothing to say. Just wanted to support. Really do appreciate that, Michael, man. Thank you so much for the love. Really does go a long way. So, Michael White, appreciate you. And let's get back to the top. And we'll knock out about maybe 10 to 15 minutes worth of comments before we wrap up the show. So let's get to some hashtags. HHC Lunar writes, did you see Nick Wright's prediction that the Bears will win 11 games and the Commanders to win 4? I'm not even a Washington fan and I was insulted. LOL. I don't watch that stuff because again, he did that to do exactly what you're doing right now, which is to get people talking about that's nonsensical. What in the world would make someone think the Bears are going to win 11 games after seeing what they saw with that offense last year? Now, granted, they got a brand new head coach, a new GM, and it's a different direction. They did nothing to help Justin Fields, who looked lost at times last season. They did nothing to help him this offseason. What makes anyone think the Bears are going to win 11 games? So for him to say that and then turn around and in the same breath, Ron Rivera is only going to win 4 games. They won 7 with a murderer's row schedule. They got a better quarterback than they did a season ago and in a much easier schedule, and they're going to only win 4 games. He's baiting you, okay? That's the old bait and switch. I throw out some cheese out there, you bite it, and then I switch it up. He wants clicks. He wants eyeballs. He wants attention. He wants you talking about it. That's what people in his position do. That's what the Stephen A. Smiths of the world do. There's a little bit more substance there. That's what the Skip Baylesses of the world do, the Shannon Sharps, but more likely than not, the Skip Baylesses, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Nick Wrights, because I got to get you talking about my show. I got to have your name in my mouth. That's how I make my money. So, no, I didn't see it. I don't care. I didn't watch it. And no one brought it to my doorstep. That's nonsensical. Even you're not a Washington fan. Even you got to chuckle out of that. Like, that's stupid. That's dumb. So, yeah. HHC Lunar also writes, thank you for not being a hot take artist like the people on TV. Shaking my head. Look, either you're going to watch or you don't. That's how I feel. I'm not getting paid by a network because of ratings. My shit isn't ratings driven. So I don't have to say something crazy to get you to watch because I don't have ratings. I don't have to meet a certain quota to keep my job or keep my show on the air, which is the beauty of YouTube. It's the beauty of having your own stuff. Right? You don't have to answer to anyone. So I don't have to make asinine claims and statements to get you to click. I don't have to give you clickbait or have to give you the bait and switch, give you this information and get you to click only to switch it out once you get there. I don't have to do that. Right? He doesn't really think the Bears will win in 11 games. He doesn't really think the Commanders, and he'll switch that later on. That's the bait and switch. I got your ass on the hook. And then later on in the offseason, he'll switch his prediction. Anyway, I digress. Let's see. Reese says, what's up, Lewski? Is Akeem Hicks an upgrade over Sue? I believe so, if he's healthy. And that's the thing. That's the difference between the two. Sue's always healthy. He's never injured. Okay, you're getting 17 games out of Ndamukong Suh. Meanwhile, Hicks isn't guaranteed to give you 10. Okay, he's a hamstring. He's an explosive guy, so he's a hamstring away, a knee injury away, some kind of soft tissue injury away from being out for 4 to 6 weeks. However, when he's healthy, at this point of his career, when they were both in their prime, Suh was the better player. But at this point of their careers, Akeem Hicks is the better player. So I love the move for the Buccaneers. Ree also writes, we have already been historic run defense. Hicks and Vita Vea, mercy. Good luck stepping into the middle of the pocket. I love the move, and that's the exact reason why your run defense isn't going to have a drop-off. And now I think he upgrades because I don't think Suh was the pass rusher that he once was. Hicks is still a very good interior pass rushing defensive tackle, whether he's collapsing the pocket or just flat out whooping the ass of some guard or center. I think you've gotten better on that defensive line with this acquisition. So I love that move for your Bucks. Ree says, when was the last time you had a bite of meat? That would be 2017. 2017. August of 2017. So I have been a vegan for going on 5 years now. August the 1st will be 5 years. Exactly. Hey, go ahead. Somebody says, well, you're a vegan, so you look like a herbivore. Touche. I can't even really be upset at that. Reese says, I'm the same way with my niece, Lou. Just a sucker. She plays me like a fiddle and I can't help it. They know when they got you wrapped, man. They know when they got you. They see sucker on your forehead a mile away and They're going to run the check up on you. And she did. She got me. And I knew in the moment, I knew she was getting me, but she deserves it. She's a great kid. She passed all of her SOLs to this point. Her grades are good. I got no objections. As long as you're taking care of business, I'll take care of you. I always tell the kids that. As long as you're taking care of business, I'll take care of you. We got issues. Don't look my way. I can't help you. So she's taking care of business. I got no issues with that. So Condo P said she went to, so you went to the Emoja Festival. We used to go to the Emoja Festival once upon a time. I think now they've got the Emoja in P-Town. They've always had that. And then they've got the, I think the Patriots Day parade now is in Norfolk down at Waterside, which, you know, I care less about that, but still. Let's see. Derek B says, if the rookie wide receivers have a bigger impact than the traded high-priced wide receivers, will there be a market correction like there was with the running back position? Better to draft a first-round wide receiver than pay big money. I don't think there will ever be there are certain positions that can correct themselves. Like the tight end position can correct itself. The running back position, the linebacker position, even safety to a lesser degree can correct itself. The big ticket items will never become cheaper. It's just like fashion. There's certain items where you're like, hey, that was a trend. Like Mark Echo. Remember when you were rocking Echo? And that's probably for a flashback, you know, Friday podcast, you know, when I take you back. But remember Echo, you know, remember Sean John, remember Rockaway. Like those were, you know, trendy fashion statements, FUBU, all that stuff. Here today, gone tomorrow. There are other, you know, fashion trend that are trends that, you know, that are statements that'll never, you know, be cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Like at one point, FUBU, you were paying top dollar for that. And then, you know, 2 years later, you could walk into a Marshall's and get a FUBU shirt for $7. It corrected itself. The market corrected itself. At some point, you're never going to be able to walk in and get a Gucci shirt for XY or a Gucci belt for XY for, you know, $25. That's not happening, you know. Whereas with receiver, edge rusher, tackle, quarterback, those positions in corner, those positions don't correct themselves. That's always going to be a high ticket item. Okay. That's always going to be Gucci. That's always going to be Fendi. That's always going to be something that's, you know, expensive. It's never going to be cheaper. So, I don't think teams are going to, as you see these receivers like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase come in and light it up, for every one of those, there's a Jalen Reagor out there. There's a guy you drafted in the first round that didn't pan out the way that you expected. There's a Hollywood Brown that you're trading away because he hasn't been what you wanted him to be. So I don't think it'll ever really correct itself. It always balances itself out. Let's see. See if we have any more hashtags. What's up, Frog Gang 202? Let's see. So somebody said that Njoku, I think I might have misspoken and said he was the first, it was the highest paid. I know he's not the highest paid tight end because that wasn't what I read, but I might have misspoke in my haste. He's somewhere in the top 5. I think he's either 5th or 4th or 3rd or somewhere in there. Still, that's a ridiculous money for David Njoku. He doesn't have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th type stats in production to this point. Meanwhile, my guy Darren Waller's over here trying to figure out how he's going to get paid. It's crazy, and he will get paid. Trust me. There's no way he's not going to get paid, but that's crazy to me. Anyway, Red Wings 01 writes, do you think Ken Zampese can get Wentz to work on his mechanics? I think that's the biggest thing holding him back from being a truly great quarterback. I mean, at this point of his career, I don't know if you're going to be able to change his mechanics all that much. I mean, it's a muscle memory thing when it comes to mechanics. So it's something you have to do repeatedly over and over and over and over again to change that habit. I don't know if they can get him to do something differently than he's been doing already in his career for the first, 5-6 years of his career to this point, and all throughout college. At this point, it might be what it is. And so, they may be able to make a tweak here or a tweak there, but I don't see him changing all that much. Fourth and Inches podcast writes, who's your favorite rookie coach for this year? So many teams have new coaches, man. The Dolphins have a new coach. The Bears have a new coach. The Broncos have a new coach. The Giants have a new coach. The Vikings have a new coach. Who else has a new coach? Let's see. That's 5. I think 8 teams have new coaches. The Texans have a new coach. Who else has a new coach? AFC West is good. I already named the Broncos. AFC South, I already named the Texans. The Jags have a new coach. That's 7. I think there's one more lingering out there. AFC East, I already named the Dolphins. Nobody else in that division. Jets are good. Bills are good. Patriots are good. And in the AFC North, I already named no one in there has a new coach. Everybody's got the same coach. You go to the NFC, you got the NFC West. Everybody's got the same coach in that division. NFC South, Falcons have the same coach. Bucks have the same, and the Bucks have a new coach. I mean, technically, it's just a promotion, but the Bucks have a new head coach, and I don't even know if that's the 8th team. Maybe it might be 9 with that. The Saints, that's the other team that has the new head coach, and it's the same as the Bucks. They're just promoting from within, but that's the 9th team. And the Raiders have a new coach. So 10 teams. That's a lot, because I didn't add in the Bucks and the Saints, I think, but the Raiders have a new team, a new coach, I should say. So of all of those teams, that's a lot of teams. That's a third of the league with new head coaches. It's crazy. I told you this offseason was wild. Anyway, so a third of the league with a new head coach. Who's my favorite of that group? I really think that Brian Daboll has a chance to do some big things in New York with the Giants. We'll see. He's an offensive mind that has had success in this league, so we'll see if that carries over to the Giants. I think the hire of – there are some interesting hires. I don't know if I love them yet. I love Daboll to the Giants. There's some interesting hires. McDaniel to the Dolphins. The Broncos getting what's the offensive coordinator's name? I forgot his name, but that's interesting there in Denver to see what he does with that offense. And then I think my favorite hire, I know what it is. It's Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. That's my favorite. You get a young quarterback that is dying for someone to come in there, take the reins, and stabilize his situation. I'd hate to see a young, talented quarterback like Trevor Lawrence be wasted. They got the right guy in Doug Peterson to be the man in Jacksonville to stabilize that situation was a mess. I don't think we understand just how ridiculously messy Jacksonville was last year under Urban Meyer. He was a shit show. And just listening to the players, like, I don't know if you guys have listened to the players talk about how epically bad it was last year, but I mean, we can just think back to all of the shit that happened with Urban Meyer. He didn't know who Aaron Donald was. He stayed in after a loss on a Thursday night in Cincinnati. Remember, he, was in Ohio. He's a legendary. He has a bar there, and, gets caught, on video with some chick that's not his wife. Like, there was so much bad there. Remember, he verbally and even physically abused the kicker, potentially. I don't know what's true, what's not true with Josh Lambo. Lambo suing for emotional distress and all this stuff, and having his career really railroaded by Urban Meyer. Like, there's so much ridiculousness that went on. He was arguing with coaches and emasculating guys in front of the players, and it was a mess. That's the best hire. Just getting his ass as far away from Jacksonville as possible, and then getting a guy that's won a Super Bowl in Doug Peterson, who's an offensive mind, who's we've seen take a young quarterback and get the most out of him like he did with Wentz. I think that's the best move to this point. Let's see. Got a super chat here from, first of all, I got a new member. Molly Mall. Stand up. You are officially the newest member of the MOBB. Really appreciate you becoming a member. Mob, you know what to do. Show Molly Mall some love. Don't know if he's a Cowboys fan or not. The thumbnail is questionable, but it doesn't matter. Even if he's a Cowboys fan, we love them all. Come one, come all. We love them all. All different shapes, sizes, fan bases, colors, creed, all of it. We love them. We welcome all of them aboard the MOBB. So open your arms wide and welcome Molly Mall to the squad. Glad to have you and looking forward to chopping it up with you, Molly Mall. The Phillies Ace 34. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Louie, with everything Washington has enough to get back MVP style of play, can Hurts succeed? Sure, Hurts can succeed. That's totally up to him. The Philadelphia Eagles have done everything that they needed to do to put Jalen Hurts in a position to succeed. They got him a number one receiver in the draft last year. They went down and doubled down on getting him another number one receiver in A.J. Brown. So now they've got a 1A, 1B type of situation in Philadelphia. They've got a bunch of other receivers that can continue to fill the voids after those first two, like Quez Watkins. And, look, even Jalen Reagor, who stinks to this point, can still be a good third, fourth option. It wasn't built to be the first or second option. So they've got stuff. They got tight end stuff. They've got plenty of tight ends for days. They've got plenty of backs for days. Their offensive line has been one of the best in football. Absolutely, he can be successful. I just think there's a ceiling on how good he can be because of his skill set. He can work as hard as he wants to work. And this is the fun thing with Eagles fans. They love to say, well, Jalen Hurts is out here working hard. You can work as hard as you want, but there's still a cap on your abilities. You could be the hardest worker in the league. You're not better than Kevin Durant. You don't have Kevin Durant talent. So you can work as hard as you want. You still can't be Kevin Durant, right? That's my problem with Jalen Hurts is he can work as hard as he wants. He can be a great guy. I really like the person that Jalen Hurts is. There's still a limit to what he can provide for you on the football field. There are limitations to his game. But can he be successful? You're damn right he can be. We'll see what he does. This is a make or break season for him because the Eagles aren't going to continue to wait on him to develop. Either he's going to show them that he's starting quarterback material or they're going to move on after this year. That's how I feel. And that's why they've positioned themselves yet again. This was not a great quarterback class, but they positioned themselves this year to get to, a quarterback if need be. This wasn't the draft to do that, but they positioned themselves again next year to get a first-round quarterback if this situation should arise where they feel like they need to do that. So we'll see what happens. And I thought with your comment you were going to Wentz, so it makes sense. But I can only answer what it said. It said, double up. Thank you for doubling up to Phillies Ace 34. Who writes, sorry, I meant Wentz. Damn auto correct. Got you. It's all good. I thought you meant Wentz. Where you were going with the comment, it sounded like you were going to say Wentz. You're damn right we can get, 2016 or 2017, Carson Wentz. We, again, just like I said with Jalen Hurts, we've insulated Carson Wentz to the point where we've surrounded him with receivers. We go 5 deep at receiver right now, 5 deep at receiver. We go probably tight end is the one position I'm still a little iffy on. Got a guy coming off of injury that if he's healthy, he's a really good, productive tight end. We drafted a guy in the 5th round. Still want to see what he has. And then we got a guy we drafted last year in the 4th round. So I want to see what all of that looks like. But we've surrounded him with tight end talent or wide receiver talent, running back talent. The offensive line is one of the better pass blocking units in all of football. he's got everything he needs to be successful in Washington. The defense is decent. I think he's set up for success. We'll see. But last year, a lot of people felt like he was set up for success in Indy. I beg to differ from this standpoint. Yeah, his run game was dominant. The run blocking was outstanding. His pass blocking last year was terrible. His left tackle was coming off of a knee injury. He was a turnstile. They didn't have a lot of weapons for him to get the football to at the wide receiver position. Really, their run game was their offense, and Carson Wentz had to get the football to the tight end position and pretty much Michael Pittman Jr., and that was it. That's not what's going to be the case in Washington. So I like the situation that he's being put in, but we'll see. He's still got to take care of business. That's for sure. And my guy, the Phillies Ace 34. Thank you for the super chat once again. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, you're the man. God bless you and the family. Go Eagles. Likewise, you are the man. Appreciate you, the Phillies Ace. And I co-sign everything you just said except the Go Eagles part. Thank you for the super chat and the support, man. I'm going to knock out a couple more hashtags and then we will move on. Rich says, how would you feel on getting Deion Jones? I would like it. He said, it's just, I think he's more of a middle linebacker and Cole got that position locked down right now. Also, any June 1st cuts you predict or want? Haven't really been paying attention to the June 1, situation. Deion Jones, you're right, is more of a middle linebacker. So I don't see them pursuing that. And I would think that if he got released, he'd get some good money, even though, a lot of the money is dried up. I still think someone would give him good money. And you can finagle these deals to where he gets a bunch of guaranteed money, a lot of it in bonuses, a lot of it is signing. And then this year, it only counts 1.6 million against your cap. And then next year, the number balloons to 11 million or whatever. So I'd like to think that he would get really good money if he were to, the Falcons weren't able to figure out what they wanted to do there and something happened. But Deion Jones is a really good football player, has been for a long time. And I think there's still some good football in there with Deion Jones. I agree. He is a middle linebacker, however. Molly Mall, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, definitely a Cowboys fan. I mean, the thumbnail says it all, but you could have been someone trolling with a thumbnail that wasn't accurate, but I suspected you were a Cowboys fan. He says, I see 56-14 coming again this year, but I got Washington second with a wild card spot. I hope I never see another 56-14 ass whooping like that again, unless we're the ones delivering it. That was one of the worst watches as a Washington fan. And I can't say that I didn't see it coming. We were in total turmoil and disarray from COVID and injuries, and our season was falling apart, at the seams. And it was a pretty bad situation. So, yeah, I don't want to see that again. But I'll take second place in a wild card spot. That's not my aim. My aim is to win the division, first place, win 12 games or so, win the division. But I just want in the postseason. That's the goal, is to get in the postseason, by any way, any means necessary. But the goal is not to be a wild card. It's to win the division. But look, I'll take it any way I can get it. Let's see. Slice and Dice says, who's more of a threat to the Commanders' playoff hopes, Cowboys or Eagles? I mean, both of them are threats to Washington. If you're talking about who's the bigger threat to win a division, it's always Dallas because they have the better quarterback situation. But they won a division last year. No team has repeated since 03-04. That's going to change at some point. It doesn't have to change now, though. The Cowboys don't look as strong on paper as they have in past years. So we'll see. But that's the scary part, is all of a sudden people might be doubting them a little bit because they don't look as strong. I think most people are still giving them the benefit of the doubt because they have the best quarterback in the division. That said, the Eagles have made all these improvements. Everyone's expecting them to be really good. I still think that they're bottlenecking with Jalen Hurts, the quarterback position. I've stated my position there already. Both of those teams are a threat to Washington making the playoffs, because I expect this division to destroy the two divisions that they're playing in the AFC North, or South, in the NFC North. I expect Dallas and Philadelphia, and I'm hoping Washington can add their name to the the list of teams that are taking advantage in this division, taking advantage of the schedule. I think the Eagles and the Cowboys are going to take advantage of the schedule. And in order for us to be in that discussion, we have to take advantage of the schedule. Rich, let me see if I got another super chat. Yeah, I don't. Rich says, I want to add my 2 cents on the topic. Twitter spaces are extremely easy to set up, and you can build a following on there. In terms of Discord, it can be a big GC with many more options. I'm gonna figure something out. Trust me. I'm gonna expand on the Mob Squad, so there's nothing to worry about there. All right, so that's the last comment I'm going to take, and we're going to go to our final segment of the show, and it's garbage time. And I'm going to make this real quick, short, and sweet. I know you guys heard of the tragic passing of cornerback Jeff Gladney. Died at the age of 25 in a car accident. It's a sad state of affairs. I hate being on social media when situations like that happen. I stayed off of it because I knew exactly what the toxicity that was going to exist under any post talking about his death. They were going to go back to the charges that were dropped, but nonetheless, they were out there. And you know how it is in this country. You're guilty until proven innocent when it comes to domestic violence. I don't know what his situation was. I don't care. That's irrelevant. The guy died. He's 25 years old. That's a shame. Anytime, same thing with Dwayne Haskins. We had a whole discussion about Dwayne Haskins and the way his situation was handled, and people wanted to talk about his career to this point. That was irrelevant. The man was dead. We saw the update about how drunk he was and this, that, and the third, and what he had in his system. And again, it's relevant to him losing his life. Clearly, he did not take proper steps to protect himself while on the highway. That said, it's still irrelevant that the fact that he's dead. No one cares about any of that other stuff. He's dead, and that's the problem. That's the real issue here, is that another young man's life is lost, this time in a car accident. Again, I don't know Jeff Gladney's situation. I don't know if he was drunk. I don't know what prompted the accident to take place. I just know he's dead, and that's rough. And I'm going to tell you somebody who's not taking it very well, and that's Jalen Reagor, the third-year wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. He was best friends with Jeff Gladney. They both went to TCU. Both ultimately were first-round picks in the 2020 NFL draft. Both had, totally different paths. Reagor goes to the Eagles in the first round, and he's just struggled to really, find his footing as a first-round pick. I think he's really collapsing under the pressure of being a number one first-round pick. Whereas Gladney, solid rookie season. Then he has the off-the-field issues. The Vikings cut him, and now he was getting another opportunity here with the Arizona Cardinals, and now he's gone. It's a sad state of affairs. I think Jalen Reagor is going through a lot of mental, issues with his playing career. I don't know if he has anything else going on off the field, but losing your best friend, coupling that with the struggles he's had to this point of his career, he may need to seek some mental help. Because you never want to see a guy go down a spiraling path. And he just, on social media, he said, how much more can a man take? So that means he feels like he's already bearing the weight of the world on his shoulders. He may need to seek some help. But it's a sad situation. Jeff Gladney gone at the age of 25. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the 264th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys on Thursday for the 265th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I got to figure out how I want to do my Washington show, whether I want to do it on Wednesday or Thursday, because I plan on being in front of my television for game one of the finals. That's Thursday night, so I may have to move my Washington command post show on Wednesday because I want to watch the game. So we'll see. You guys will know. I'll let you know. In any event, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys take care. You know what it is. Get off the bench, get in the game, kick it with me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. God bless and good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.